I had this false understanding and idea that when I met my person, all of my problems would go away and I would be in this fairy tale 24/7. But I had a hard awakening when I realized that's not actually the truth. Hello, 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 beautiful angels, and welcome back to the podcast To the Core. I'm your host, Carissa, and together we are going to crack the code of how to actually start feeling like our best selves, because let's be honest, we deserve that. On this podcast, we talk about unraveling the tough stuff and getting to the core of our wounds and desires so we can live our most aligned and authentic lives. I am so happy you chose to spend this time learning and growing with me today, and I'm so proud of you for showing up for yourself. Being here is a form of self-care and self-love. Let's get right into it. Today, we are going to be talking about love and kind of just like what the myths and truths are when it comes to a healthy relationship, because if you've never been in one, you really don't know what to expect. I can say that from experience. My partner that I'm with now is the first like real healthy relationship I've ever been in, and I definitely had a lot of uh myths getting into it and just different expectations that just weren't realistic. um, so with that being said, I would love to give you kind of an oversight of what those were. And so if you're someone who is currently in your healing phase and you're working on yourself until your future partner comes in, you're in the right place. If you are here because you're not sure if you're in a healthy relationship, you're in the right place. If you really want to connect with your partner deeper and maybe you also had different expectations, maybe you're still really early on in the relationship and you're just not sure if you're expecting too much or if what's happening is completely normal, you are also in the right place. So welcome, welcome, welcome. And let's get right into it. So the first myth that I wanted to touch on was that when I got with my partner, I genuinely thought that we weren't going to disagree or argue. Um, that is false. You will disagree and you will argue. Um, the truth behind that is that you'll just do it in a healthier and more open-minded way. I think a lot of my previous relationships, it was kind of like fighting to see who was going to win rather than seeking to understand. And that's definitely something my partner and I are really good at, is when we disagree on something or we're arguing, it's like, okay, let's get to the truth of why you feel that way or think that way, and vice versa. And instead of coming across closed minded, shut down, guarded, pardon me, we come as open individuals who, again, seek that understanding, want that honesty, because we both deserve that. And we both want to know what's going on in the other person's head. Like, if we're disagreeing on something, like, okay, tell me more, like, what do you see or what do you think? And yeah, my past, it was like a screaming match most of the time. Like, I was crying, I was getting screamed at for having a different belief, or just stating, hey, I didn't like that, or hey, that made me feel some type of way. In a healthy relationship, anything that you bring to that person, they're going to accept that and want to know what they can do to better the situation. Um, that's a healthy relationship. Being with someone who's not healthy, it's you go to them with an issue and they just either gaslight you into thinking that what you're feeling is not the truth or what happened wasn't the truth, or they're just gonna deny it and manipulate you into thinking that nothing is wrong. So yeah, that's really important to decipher, because I genuinely had this belief like I was never going to argue with my partner. And that might seem to people now listening, that's so unrealistic. Like, of course you will. Yes, you will. It'll just be different. And that's not something that I really knew. The next myth is that they will just know how to treat you. While yes and no. This is true, but also not true, right? So it is a myth in the sense that they have a roadmap to you, your expectations, and what you desire out of life. No, I think open communication is really important in regards to this. Um, because if you have a certain expectation, right? Like in the beginning of my relationship, I kind of set the standard to my partner. Like, this is what I would like. This is what I expect. And if these things ever fall off the face of the earth, like, I might too. And that was a very open and vulnerable conversation we had, because I know what it was like to be with someone where they treated me good in the beginning, and then it slipped and slipped and slipped and slipped and got like a little worse and a little worse each day. And, my partner knew about my past. I was very open about that and very vulnerable. I felt safe to be with him. And I was able to disclose all of that. And with that, I had expressed to him, hey, like, I really value consistency and predictability. So if what we're doing today isn't what we're doing in 40 years, then I don't know that I will be happy. Of course, there's different extents, right? Like, we can't all put on like our best foot forward every single day of our lives, but it's just about remaining and having that mutual respect and understanding and lightheartedness in the relationship that, even if we're having an off day, he is still going to get my car door like every single time. If we're having an off day, he's still going to help me and ask me, hey, I see you're cooking dinner. Is there anything that I can help you with? Those things are things that I, again, want to last forever and kind of expect that. And so while no, they won't have a roadmap, and I also believe that, if he wanted to, he would. And it's like, well, not necessarily, because no matter how much someone loves you, they can't read your mind. And so once you tell them that this is how you want to be treated and you have an expectation, they'll either step up or they won't. And that's going to tell you everything you need to know. Every single time I've gone to my partner and been like, hey, I would really appreciate if this, hey, I would really love if this, he has stepped the heck up because he wants to be with me and he values me as a partner. And he knows that whenever he comes to me with something like that, I meet him with grace and understanding. And I also want to do that for him because I love him, and vice versa. And so while they won't know, they can't read your mind, feeling safe enough to tell them about an expectation or something you really value, in a healthy relationship, they're going to step up and they're going to do the best that they can with what they have to make sure that you feel taken care of. The next myth that I would like to touch on is that moving in together soon is a red flag. I have experienced both sides to the spectrum. I was in a very abusive relationship, emotionally, verbally, mentally, before my current partner. And he put an expectation on me very soon. I was in my own apartment and he had a rental house down the road. And he was pretty much like, you're going to cancel your lease and move in with me. And at the time, I wanted to be with him. And so I was like, okay, that's fine. And I kind of like stayed small, even though intuitively I felt a little off about it. And I do remember seeking everybody's opinion under the sun of like, hey, is this the right move? And they were pretty much like, girl, only you know that, And I went against my gut. I spent thousands of dollars to cancel my lease early on my apartment, and I moved in with him. And that truly gave him like all the power he needed to kind of hold over me, in a sense that I no longer had like a safe haven. Like, I didn't have a safety net. I didn't have somewhere to go. And yeah, so that was my first experience of moving in with someone very quickly. My second experience was my current partner. And we, from the outside looking in, people could probably be like, oh, like that was really quick. It felt right on time. to be honest. Like once we knew that we loved each other, we wanted to be together, and that was it. We wanted to fall asleep next to each other. We wanted to wake up next to each other. We wanted to start our lives. Like we were both praying for one another for literal months before we came to one another. And once we like, I am such a firm believer in like now once you know, you truly know, because I knew meeting my partner, I was like, oh my gosh, like I've literally been wanting you my whole life, and here you are. And that is such a beautiful and special feeling. And so as long as it feels intuitively aligned and no one feels pressure on any side or any sort of like obligation, I don't think it's a red flag at all. And to each his own. Obviously, I know there's a lot of people who like really value their personal space, and that's great. I had my personal space for a long time, and I was good. Like I knew being with him was so safe, and that was exactly what I wanted. And so it just made sense for both of us to move in together because we wanted that, and we both wanted that, and we felt really safe to do that. So yeah. The next myth is that they won't ever cross your boundaries. This is a tough one because in our current relationship, I've kind of been the boundary crosser, and that's been something that's been really kind of like hurtful on both parties. Just because I really do respect and value my partner, and being with him, you know, I feel so safe that sometimes like I kind of act out in a way that I never have before. Because again, when you're with someone who is tearing you down and draining you, you're not gonna feel safe enough to like speak up and break boundaries. Like the relationship will feel very unsafe. And so my partner now, because I felt so safe, there were times where like I did cross his boundaries because whether we got into an argument and I have an anxious attachment and he's a little bit more avoidant. And so when we get in an argument, I'm the one that's like, we need to fix this right now, like right now. And he's kind of like, okay, I respect that you want to fix this right this second, but I really feel like I could use some space and some time to really kind of go over what happened and, you know, soothe myself first so I'm able to show up as the best version of myself for you, you know, through this time. And we just celebrated our 2-year anniversary. So we've been together for a couple years, and that has taken me honestly quite some time to kind of like wrap my head around because that's not what I'm used to. And in the beginning, it felt kind of like, like, what do you mean you need time? Like, and I was very tempted to cross his boundaries and just again, work on fixing it right then and there, but that's not what he needed. And so meeting each other in the middle, like, hey, this is, you know, something that we've taken away from couples therapy is that he will say, "Hey, I understand, you know, that you're feeling upset and I'm here for you. I also just need a few minutes and let's meet up." And he'll give me a time. Let's meet up in blank minutes and come together and go over what just happened. And like, okay, cool. And then I'll go do my thing and kind of regulate myself, and he will regulate himself. And then whenever he feels like he's had those minutes, then he'll come find me and then we'll discuss it. And most every single time we reach an understanding and we move on with our evening. But if I am breaking boundaries and I'm feeling very insecure or anxious, that's not what happens. And I will push and push and push and push, and he will resist. And then he needs extra time to process. And then I feel even more anxious, and it sometimes will roll into the next day. And so crossing boundaries, it may happen from time to time. It's super important to enforce them. And just again, like there have been times where he's like, listen, this is a boundary that I have and I need you to respect that. And it's like, that's where that healthy part plays in, is like, okay, heard. Like, yes, I apologize for not doing that first, you know? We all make mistakes. Nobody's perfect. And we all have different experiences, you know, coming from, again, traumatic relationship after traumatic relationship. It hasn't been as easy for me to take that and just, you know, walk away. Like, it's taken some time for me to trust that he still loves me just the same, even when we're disagreeing or arguing. He is going to come find me and we're going to be okay. Like, this isn't, no one's breaking up. This isn't this, you know, huge make or break situation. And so, yeah, just being patient and trying really, really hard not to cross those boundaries, because nobody wants their boundaries crossed. And it's really important that we work super hard in a relationship to not do that. Okay. The next myth is that every day is going to be a fairy tale. I really wanted this to be true, like so bad. There were a lot of just YouTube videos and podcasts I listened to before getting with my current partner. And I really had this idea that it was going to be this fairy tale every single day. And it's not, because it's life. And there are a lot of fairy tale moments. Like when we went to Vegas, it was literally such a fairy tale. We have never vibed so hard with one another. Like, we were on the same wavelength. We just spent the week having the time of our lives. There was not a single disagreement. Like, that was a fairy tale. Going to a cabin in the woods when we lived in Colorado, and you know, going in the hot tub and just really bonding, like, that was a fairy tale. But again, not every day can be super glamorous. But the love and respect is still the same. And so that's kind of the beauty of the mundane, is appreciating that, you know, you're not always going to be on these glamorous vacations and having these glamorous moments, but you still love one another so much. And that just gives you something to look forward to. Like, we were just talking the other day about what we're going to do for my birthday. And I was like, oh, I just want to feel alive the way I felt in Vegas. I want to feel free and just like living in this fairy tale. And he's like, yeah, but babe, then like, if you felt that all the time, then it wouldn't be as special when you do get to feel it. And I'm like, okay, I see you. Like, that's, you know, a great thing to say right now in this moment. And it's true. So yeah, just getting on board with that kind of took me some time. But you know, life is life. We work, we clean, we cook, we take care of our animals. Like, that's just what has to happen. And so, yeah. And the glamorous moments we get to enjoy even more so, because even though they might be a little bit more few, far, and in between, they're amazing. And it gives us something to look forward to as well. The next myth is that all of your problems will go away once you meet your person. I truly believed this. And to some people that might sound really silly, but I truly believed this to my core. I was like, once I meet my man, all my problems are going to go away. No. So I will say that there were some that did vanish. But with that, new problems arise. And there's always going to be problems, but the cool thing is now you have a partner to help you navigate those problems, and they don't feel so heavy. And that's honestly really cool. Like, having been by myself for years, and again, healing, working on myself, finding myself, really growing, and, you know, taking care of my just everything, you know, working and taking care of my home and paying the rent and my bills and like all that good stuff. Doing it with someone else is honestly so much more fun. I will say that, hands down, way more fun. And I know that there are some people who genuinely like being alone, and that's great. But for me, I really cherish my alone time, but I really value being with someone else and having that connection. And so solving our problems together is sometimes in the beginning, it'll feel heated, but over time, it feels really good. And it's honestly really nice to have someone else's opinion. Like my partner, he's so smart. He's just such a wise soul. And going to him with a problem and being like, hey, I don't know what to navigate. Like, what do you think? And just getting his input and realizing that having someone else who has such a brilliant perspective is so beneficial is, yeah, like worth all the problems in the world, to be honest, because there's really not a problem we haven't been able to solve. And that's just like really cool. The last myth that I have for us today is that having similar hobbies is a necessity. I thought that once I met my person, like we would like the same things. Like I define myself as a spiritual being. I love to meditate and kind of like cleanse myself and really be super aware and like do sound baths and a lot of like self-care and self-help. And while he indulges in some of those things, there's a lot of things that we both do that the other's not really into. And that's fine. Like we're still able to connect and have the best time. And like he loves to play soccer. I don't necessarily love to play soccer. I don't even really like to watch soccer, but I love him and I love watching him play. And I love going to his games and cheering him on. Um, and yeah, like again, there are things that I love to do, like read. He reads sometimes, but I would definitely say that I'm more of like the bookworm. And I go through phases too. Like I'm not always reading, but when I am reading, I'm like super reading. Um, and like, even if he's not reading next to me, like he'll still keep me company while I do that and he'll do something else. And you don't need to have all of the same hobbies and likes and interests as your partner. It's just finding that mutual ground and respect of like, hey, this isn't my thing, but like I'd love to join you while you do that. Or while you do your thing, I'm going to go do mine. And that's like really normal in a healthy relationship. You don't always have to do all of the same things, but respecting the other person's hobby and like giving them that space to kind of do that is definitely where um being like a respectful partner who understands comes in. And it also keeps you, I think sometimes in a partnership we can kind of drift from being an individual into like being like a couple. And yes, that's beautiful. And yes, we love love. At the same time, though, being an individual is really important, and remembering kind of like your likes and dislikes and doing what you want to do is also really important. So you can continue to grow and take care of yourself, you cannot pour from an empty cup. So taking care of yourself and doing those hobbies you love is really beneficial to the relationship. And it also gives you something to regroup on and learn more about. And that's always fun. So, my loves, that is all I have for us today. I am so glad that you were able to join me on this episode. I do just want to throw out a quick reminder. I am not advertising this podcast on social media at all. It just doesn't feel authentic to me and to the core brand. And so if you got something out of this episode and you think that someone else would benefit from it, please, please, please send it their way. If you find yourself a recurring listener, if you want to throw me a follow, I wouldn't be mad at it. If you'd like to be notified when future episodes come up, you can click the little bell, and the next time I post, you'll get a little notification and you can be one of the first to listen. I just want you to know that I'm super proud of you, and healthy love does exist. I know this because I am in it, and it is easier to believe once you are in it, but I will say that I did not find my partner until I really believed it to be true. And I heard this from another YouTube creator, but if I exist, they exist. And so just remember that if you are somebody who feels like a hopeless romantic, like you'll never find your person, I promise the first step to finding them is believing that you will and they will come. Okay. I love you and I'm super excited to grow the show. And yeah, I will talk to you next time. Oh, one more announcement I'd like to throw out. I am currently working on getting video set up. So very, very soon in the future, I will be on video. So you don't just hear my voice, you also get to see my face. And that is really exciting. It's a lot of work and financials on the back end. So I am diligently working on that. And yeah, I'm just super excited to grow the show and continue to grow with you. And yeah, until next time, bye.